is Corinne Talham. This is an interview about Imagine Learning Center for the Gainesville Business History Oral History Project run by the Inquire Capitalism program of the History Department at the University of Florida. Understand that for us and for the public, the information you are providing is a gift, and it is an incredible historical resource, and we greatly appreciate it. This interview will be available as part of UF Oral History Collections and through UF Digital Collections and YouTube. So, can you please introduce yourself? What's your full name, and could you spell it?
Sure. My name is Daniella Porter. It's Daniella Porter, Porter.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in Gainesville? Where'd you grow up?
So I've lived here my whole life. I was born here. I was born at AGH, actually, the hospital that doesn't exist anymore.
Me too.
And I grew up outside of Gainesville. I went to school at Jordan Glen. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a sweet, sweet school out in the country. And then I went to high school in town at Eastside, and then I graduated from PK, and I went to UF forever after that.
I went to Eastside and then UF forever. So when did you decide to pursue education as a career, early childhood education specifically?
I think it was something that I just knew I was going to do for as long as I can remember. I always wanted to work with kids. So from a really young age, I knew that I was going to pursue a path in a field that worked with young children. And I think at some point in high school, I had decided that I was going to be a teacher. And so I looked into the program at UF that did, it doesn't exist anymore, but it's the Early Childhood Pro Teach program. Mm-hmm. And it was 5 years and you get your master's. And I went through that program. And I don't know did I answer the question?
Yeah, thank you. And then did you have like a particular passion for business or interest in sort of being your own boss, being in charge of your own kind of business that led you to what you're doing now?
So I'm not a business person. I don't really have an affinity for business in general, but I did not really want to go the traditional route of teaching in a public school. I love public school. I'm an advocate for public schools, but it just wasn't a good fit for me professionally. And I'm really interested in alternative curriculum approaches. And so I was looking into preschools and schools that utilize those approaches. And I thought kind of down the line, I would one day open a school that was kind of a pipe dream. Mm-hmm. And it happened way quicker in my life than I anticipated. It was kind of an opportunity that fell into my lap that I couldn't not take advantage of. Mm-hmm.
So what did happen that allowed you to open?
So that the program that I went through, I had a friend a few years later that was going through that program, and one of her good friends in the program is the sister-in-law of my business partner. And I didn't know them at all, mm-hmm. but he was finishing his MBA, and he was starting his family, and he wanted to invest in a business that his family could use, in particular a school for young children. And so he had let his sister-in-law know, who was in the early childhood program, to kind of put the word out. And so my friend who's in the program heard about it and told me, because I was kind of looking for something different at the time, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but she knew that I was looking for something different. And so he and I met, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So as I guess you have a business partner that is more on the business side, do you handle any of that stuff, or mostly focus on the teaching? And
I collect tuition. I do the contracts. I do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But he does the taxes and reconciles everything, and the banking end of everything. Yeah, I do payroll too. I mean, I do the day to day.
Yeah. I guess when you first opened, were there a lot of other similar learning centers or preschools in Gainesville at the time?
There are a few preschools in Gainesville that are kind of non-traditional. Gainesville has a lot of really nice schools, actually. So yeah, there were a few. We aren't particularly attached to a specific curriculum model. We are kind of an eclectic approach. We are very influenced by Reggio Emilia, but we also have some Waldorf influence and some Montessori influence, and really the teachers bring their own. So some of the other schools that are more alternative curriculum methods are specific. Like there's a Waldorf school here, and there's a couple of Montessori schools here. But we don't really prescribe to a specific approach.
Yeah. I read on your website that you finished your PhD a couple years ago.
I did.
Congratulations. Thanks. Did that, I guess the process of finishing that, influence the teaching philosophies that you've adopted at Imagine, or was it a continuation of practices that you already sort of knew and were familiar with?
So I definitely consider myself a lifelong learner, and I love being in school and being a part of the education program here, and now I'm adjuncting, so I like to have that connection with UF, and just like the higher learning community in general. And I think that, of course, it has influenced our school, but also our school has influenced my studies, and it was more of a pursuit of knowledge, a personal pursuit of knowledge that, definitely does influence the work I do, but I guess directly and indirectly, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I guess why do you feel that it's important, or why have you decided to use, these different teaching philosophies in multiple different schools of thought about early childhood education?
I just feel like there's not one right way for every child. I also think that different philosophies resonate differently with different teachers. And so I want to be flexible in my mind. And I also want to encourage that flexibility in my school.
Yeah. Sorry. So today, I guess I don't have any kids. I don't know what it's like getting kids into preschool, but do you have to do a lot of advertising, do a lot of recruiting, and promoting your school over the other, because there's many different, early childhood learning centers in Gainesville?
For us, it's a lot of word of mouth. We don't do very much overt advertising. In the very beginning, I would go to the farmer's market and have a little booth and, that kind of stuff. We had, I think, a newspaper ad way back when, in maybe our first year, I think right before we opened, we did that. We have a website, we have Facebook. We have a teacher who recently retired who kept a blog and then an Instagram account of the work that she did in her classroom. And so that definitely served as advertising, but we don't do really any overt advertising anymore.
Yeah, cool. Can you talk about any sort of major risks that you've taken in, I guess, just opening the school is a major risk, or big major challenges that you've faced in the process of owning the school and running it?
It's a lot of work. Yeah. I think running any business is a lot of work. The licensing end they're not too intrusive, but there's a lot of details that go into getting licensed. And so in the very beginning, when we were first getting licensed, it was a big learning curve. Over the years, things like the business end that I'm not so crazy about, the payroll stuff and the collecting tuition, all that stuff is not super intuitive for me. So that's a challenge personally, but I think that one of my biggest stressors is hiring, because I'm always just looking for special people to join our team, and so that kind of creates some stress, and then the kinks to work out when new folks join our team and that kind of stuff. I think any kind of common things that I feel like those are common things in business.
All the things that make it hard to own your own business and be in charge. I guess speaking of staff, is there a lot of turnover with staff, or do you feel like you are able to keep a core group of people?
We've been open since 2005, and I think we've had a few core groups of people. We've had teachers who have been with us for a few years, left, and then come back to work with us, which is really cool. We have, I mentioned that we just had a teacher retire recently, and she was with us since we opened. So, we've had teachers who have been with us long-term and teachers who are with us short-term, and right now we have a really wonderful teacher who is only going to be able to be with us for one semester, but we scooped her up, and she just brings so much. So yes, there's turnover. I would say there was a lot more struggle with turnover right around when we reopened after pandemic. And we've recovered from that, but that was just kind of a crazy time. But yeah, I think there is turnover more with our part-time teachers. So we have some full-time staff that is kind of our morning core teachers, and then we have part-time staff who come in the afternoons, and those are often more likely to be students, and so that the nature of hiring students, they
come and go.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess so. You closed for COVID.
Yeah, we closed. We thought it was just going to be a long spring break and like the rest of the world, right? And we were closed from March, I think 13th, was that the day? Until August when we reopened for the new school year. And that was rough. Yeah. It was really rough.
Yeah. Did you, I guess it's hard, the thing about early childhood education is it's a place for kids to go rather than, an online school, but did you continue any sort of, online programs or anything?
I mean, not really. We had some teachers who did things online that families could engage with, but it wasn't like a regular structured thing. We... just like everybody, I think we got the PPP loan, and we got that SBA loan, or the PPP grant, that loan turned into a grant, and so we were able to pay our teachers for our closing, and so most of them came back when we reopened. We reopened with just a small group of kids too, so nobody knew what was going on then, and so it was weird and scary, but yeah, it feels pretty normal now.
Good. What would you consider to be your greatest success or achievement in running Imagine?
I
know that's a hard question. We ask everyone that, and it's a hard question.
I should have thought of that one. My greatest success. I feel pretty proud of the space that we've created for children to grow and learn, and the community that we have with our families and the teachers. I guess that I feel pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Good. It's a good answer.
Thanks.
Is there anything, I guess, specifically about Gainesville that you think makes it the right place for Imagine, or do you think, I know there's schools like this everywhere because there's kids everywhere, but is there something specifically about Gainesville that makes it work?
So our school is kind of, because we have an alternative approach, we often attract an alternative group of families, and we are very open and accepting to all families and all students. And so I think that the community in Gainesville does amplify that as well. That's something that I think that Gainesville is embodies. And so, the same kind of folks that are attracted to Gainesville are attracted to the kind of school that we have.
Yeah. Does the university, I guess I don't know how to ask this. You have a lot of your part-time teachers are from the university, and are a lot of professors, kids enrolled in the school? Are you sort of intertwined with the university in any way?
We definitely have a lot of professors' kids. We have a lot of UF students and Santa Fe students. Santa Fe has a really wonderful early childhood program, and we get a lot of interns from them and staff, the people who end up being teachers for us. And so yeah, we're definitely intertwined with both institutions, I would say.
Cool. And like I guess in terms of the demographic, are a lot of your students from the same sort of social and family backgrounds?
I would say the majority are probably from similar backgrounds. We have a diverse group of students, but not super diverse, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And in the future, do you have plans to expand Imagine?
So my business partner would love that.
Yeah.
I'm not super excited about that idea. We've had a lot of families ask us to even go into kindergarten and things like that, but yeah, not right now. We don't have any plans for that.
Yeah. Okay. I think I read it on your website. At one point, did you expand like the years of kids enrolled, or has it always been?
So when we first opened, we had infants, 1s and 2s, and we rented our preschool space to Morning Meadow, which is one of the other little preschools in town. And that was just the first year. And then when the second year, they moved to their own space, and we added 3s and 4s. And then a few years later, we actually stopped taking infants. So we now have 1-year-olds through 5-year-olds. And we actually, a few years ago, started accepting kids at 15 months instead of 12 months.
Okay.
Mostly because the 12-month-olds weren't always ready to play the way that we play.
Yeah.
You know, run around the playground and get dirty, and they're not quite ready for that. And sometimes they're still taking a morning nap. And
Yeah. Cool. I guess along the same vein, is there any like specific ways that the school has evolved or grown, I guess not necessarily in size, but changed since you opened the doors, or has it been sort of a core like teaching and learning philosophy that's led you all the way to today?
I think it's always changing. I think that with every new teacher that comes, things change. With every new family that comes, things change. There's definitely kind of a baseline, you know. You can walk in and feel that the same warm feeling, but things do change. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Only have like 1 or 2 more questions. Find it. Sorry.
It's okay.
This list, it's hard to read.
I think growing and changing, that's kind of the name of the game, right? Like that's what we're in the business of. So things do definitely change.
Oh, I lost it completely. Oh, Paula had this question. Why is it called a learning center rather than a daycare or a preschool?
So it is a preschool. I would categorize it as a preschool. The connotation of a daycare is more like a everyday, all day, all year round space for kids to be while parents are at work. And we are more, I would say, in the realm of school versus daycare, if that makes sense. So we just technically, we're open all year round, but we have breaks like the Alachua County schools. So we start the year in August, and we have Thanksgiving break, and winter break is about to happen. We do spring break, and then we have a little bit of time off at the end of the school year, or right after the end of the school year, and we have kind of a summer camp program and a couple of weeks off before the new school year starts. So in that way, I would say we're more kind of aligned with schools. And we do prepare kids for kindergarten, so that's, I think that most, even I would say probably the daycares in town also do that. but the learning environment is very intentional.
Yeah, great. Okay, I think that honestly might be all of my questions. So thank you so much for your time.
You're so welcome.